the Environmental Protection Agency. It's supposed to protect the environment, right? But in just the last year, Americans have stood in horror and shock as the EPA released toxic heavy metals and chemicals into the Animas River from the Gold King mine operation. And when the media started covering this unforgivable act of environmental destruction, the EPA pursued gag orders to silence landowners and make sure they could not speak out about what was happening to their lands and rivers. A few months later, the EPA took part in a massive cover-up of lead poisoning of the water supply of Flint, Michigan. There, government officials, in order to save money and prevent their local governments from going bankrupt, switched the public water supply to a new polluted source, contaminated with lead, a toxic heavy metal that they knew children across Detroit and Flint, Michigan would be drinking without even knowing it. This mass poisoning of children and the public took place, we now know, with the full knowledge of the EPA. The Environmental Protection Agency, which was founded to protect the environment, to disclose the truth about poisons and contamination, and to warn the public so they can make decisions to limit their exposure to toxins, has now betrayed the people of America. The EPA is now no better than British Petroleum and its mass poisoning of the Gulf of Mexico. The EPA will not only knowingly stand by and let children be poisoned with a toxic heavy metal that causes mental retardation and cognitive damage, that same agency will also take part actively in the mass poisoning of a river with an extremely toxic brew of chemicals and heavy metals. The EPA has now become the Environmental Pollution Agency, and it's time that we, the people, did something about it. My name is Mike Adams. I'm known as a clean food advocate, and I'm the lab science director of a lab I've been running for 2 years that conducts elemental analysis of food and water samples to determine the parts per billion concentrations of toxic heavy metals found in those substances. Using state-of-the-art analytical instrumentation made by companies like Agilent, a division of HP, I've been able to document lead in food products like organic rice protein grown in China. I've found lead in some herbal products and certain tea products that you can buy at the grocery store. I've documented cadmium in cacao and mercury in dog treats made from fish. Over the last 2 years, I've tested thousands of samples for heavy metals contamination, and now I'm going to use this same technology and this same process to protect the people of America from the cover-ups and the contamination of the EPA itself. Today, I am announcing the launch of EPAwatch.org. EPAwatch is a division of our nonprofit Consumer Wellness Center, where I serve as the voluntary executive director. I'm not paid a salary. Under EPAwatch, we are going to acquire samples of water from every city across America and test them in our laboratory and publish those results directly to the public, bypassing the corrupt EPA and the government regime that denies the public access to this life-saving information. We are, in essence, taking over the job of the EPA because the EPA refuses to do its job. Even more importantly, we are doing this without confiscating money from taxpayers. This is not government funded. It's not funded by a university. This is a 100% private sector operation funded by the profits that we generate from selling clean foods through our online store foods that we also test and validate in this same laboratory to make sure that they contain near zero concentrations of toxic heavy metals. We are at the leading edge of what's called citizen science. Citizens like myself are now acquiring and mastering the scientific instrumentation that can be used to independently test for contaminants in food, water, and other environmental samples. We then take that information and publish it directly to the public free of charge, bypassing government corruption, regulatory cover-ups, and what can only be called scientific totalitarianism that now exists throughout our government system. Real science should not be controlled by the few. Real science is democratic science, and we are exercising what can only be called the democratization of science by taking it back into the hands of the people. When we as Americans turn to one central authority to tell us whether our water is clean or polluted, we risk that central authority becoming corrupted and politicized. But when we, the people, acquire our own scientific instrumentation and we master the same scientific methodologies used by the EPA and other organizations, then we no longer need them to report the truth to you. Our mission here at EPAwatch.org is to render the EPA obsolete on this issue of water quality in America. We can do everything that they once claimed they did in terms of water quality. And we can do it without taking money from taxpayers. We can do it without the corruption, without the bureaucracy that slows things down, and without the overinflated federal salaries that pay people to cover up what they should be reporting. We answer to you, the people of America, the people of Flint, Michigan. We are truly independent science. We don't cover up for anyone, and no one can fire us because no one gives me a paycheck or a government grant. We have no financial ties to the corrupt regime of the EPA whatsoever. We have the unique ability to conduct real science in the real public interest using private sector money that we decide to spend out of our own free will on protecting America's children from the poison that our governments and bureaucrats are knowingly putting into the water supply. So what can you do to help us with this project? It's very simple. We need two things. We need you to send us water samples from across America. Just go to EPAwatch.org for instructions on how to do that. Secondly, we need your help to share this video, this story, and this website, EPAwatch.org. You can bet there will be tremendous pressure by the EPA and the government to censor this site. What we are doing challenges the EPA's monopoly in this realm of public safety. They won't like it, but that's just tough. If they had done their job in the first place, there wouldn't be any need for citizens to take over and do their job for them. But now, thanks to the rise of citizen science, we have the instrumentation, the technical know-how, and the funding to do this job ourselves. And we're doing this job for you, picking up where the EPA abandoned its official duties. The only way that this story gets out is if you, the people, share this video, share this website, share this story. We are doing this for you. We are not doing this for profit. There's no profit model in this. It costs us money to run these samples and publish the results. But we're doing it for you because we believe that every child in America has the right to have access to clean water, that every family in America should be able to trust that the water its own government pumps through those pipes is safe to drink, not dangerous and even deadly. We believe that America should have a first world infrastructure, not a third world crumbling system filled with poison. And we believe that our government should answer to the people and not dictate to them and poison them and lie to them and cover up the truth. My name's Mike Adams. I'm the Health Ranger. I'm an American. I believe in science. I believe in food safety. I believe in water safety. I believe in transparency and truth. And that's why I'm dedicating my lab and my efforts to protecting the water supply of America, a nation that has now been betrayed by its own environmental pollution agency, the EPA. Learn more at EPAwatch.org and get ready for citizen science to keep you safe from the big failures of big government.